Okay, welcome to the independence unit or module. So in this module, we're going to be looking at ways that you can empower yourself, remove away from being dependent on teachers and to an extent your parents, and really take accountability and responsibility for your own future, your own development. And there's a bit of an inevitability here in that your future is coming, and in your future, you are going to have to be more independent. You're going to have to be able to take that responsibility. So if you get this right now, you're going to be one step ahead of everyone else when it comes to your kind of career, your later education, whatever comes next in your life. You're going to be ready if you can sort your independence out now. That doesn't mean you're going to have to move out of your family house and not talk to anyone anymore. I just mean it's about taking more responsibility for yourself. I'm going to try and make that as simple and as easy as possible for you. In this video, we're going to talk about habits. And as I've said before, everything in this course, and particularly this video, is from my experience of working with high-performing teenagers who have absolutely smashed their education, got all A's, B's, A stars, 7s, 8s, 9s, whatever you want to call them, in their exams, okay? And this is what they do day in and day out. So I'm not saying you should do them all. I'm saying think about what your habits are at the minute. Can you tweak them? Can you improve them to just make it that little bit more efficient, that little bit more better? And towards the end, we're going to talk about marginal gains. And this is what this is all about. The big stuff, how you revise subjects and things like that, we can worry about that later. But right now, what little tweaks can we make to make everything easier, more efficient, more productive, more successful for you now? So the first thing we want to look at is this quote here. So we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I think there's some truth to this quote. So if every day you are lazy, you become lazy. If every day you are trying to do better, you will become better. So it's that simple. What you do every day is what you become. And I think there's a real truth to that. When I started my teaching career, I wasn't organised, I was a mess. And then I became a mess, if that makes sense. And then after a while, I realised I couldn't carry on. I became more organised. I became more resourceful. And then I became organised. People looked at me as being organised and I had my stuff together. So we're just looking to make changes to what you do every day so that in the longer term, you become better, more organised, more independent, more productive. Whatever it is, we're going to work on those little daily things to make you more powerful, more independent, however you want to frame it. So the first thing to look at is sleep. Now, it's always a touchy subject, this one, and I respect your need as teenagers to sleep however fit, if that makes sense. I'm not being dogmatic about this. I'm not saying go to bed at 10, wake up at 6. I'm just saying be smart about this, okay? I've got a couple of scientific research bits just to get your brains thinking about why sleep is important, and then we can take it from there. So this first one here, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, can you believe they've got an Academy of Sleep Medicine? Anyway, has recommended that children aged 6 to 12 years should regularly sleep 9 to 12 hours per 24 hours, and teenagers aged 13 to 18 years should sleep 8 to 10 hours per 24 hours. So it always comes back to this 8 hours. We can't escape that. Whatever scientific research you read, it's always 8 hours. So yeah, and then I've put the reference down there if you want to find out more about where that came from. That's a scientific research paper. That's an important bit, but there's lots more information in there. If you are interested, then you know where to find it. The second quote is perhaps more informative, more useful. So sleep is essential for cognitive performance, especially memory consolidation. Sleep loss instead seems to activate the sympathetic nervous system, which can lead to a rise of blood pressure, immune response may be impaired, and metabolic changes such as insulin resistance may occur. People who are exposed to sleep loss usually experience a decline in cognitive performance and changes in mood. So in this section, they twice mention cognitive performance. And I don't want to teach you to suck eggs or anything, but just in case you're not aware, cognitive performance basically means how useful your brain is being at that time, okay? So guess what this is saying, what I'm trying to tell you, is that if you're working hard, revising, studying, completing work, if you're not getting enough sleep, your brain is not going to be functioning at 100%. The work you do is not going to be as good. if you're revising, your brain is not going to retain that information as well. Okay, and that is the opposite of what we want. We want you to retain information. We want you to perform at your best so that you can get the grades that you need to move on to that next stage in your life. Okay, so just consider: can you try and get? Let's say you're getting 6 hours sleep at the minute. Can you get 6.5? Could you try for 7? Just make that little improvement. Somewhere towards 8 hours would be brilliant. And there will be a difference. There will be a difference. Make that kind of commitment and that promise to yourself that you're going to try and work on your sleep, okay? Because you will feel the benefit of it for sure. So aim for 8 hours. Try and create a sleep routine. And by that, as humans, we're creatures of habit. We're creatures of routine. So if, let's say, half hour before bed, you're going to turn your phone off or put it on silent, turn notifications off, whatever you do, put it down. And for the next 20 minutes, you're just going to relax, might be listening to music, watching TV or whatever, but you're going to put that device away. 10 minutes before you get into bed, you're going to go clean your teeth, moisturise, whatever you do in a little kind of healthcare, self-care routine before bed, and then jump into bed. So that little kind of half hour is protected time where you're going to follow through your kind of routine. Because then not only are you consciously getting ready for bed, your subconscious will be getting ready for bed as well, because it sees the triggers. It knows, okay, when the phone goes down, it's time to start relaxing, time to start getting into that zone of sleep. Excuse me. And then that last point, it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one, but try to stick to the same routine at weekends and days off. So let's say you've got into a routine where you're going to bed at 11, waking up at 7, Monday to Friday. Try to replicate that on Saturday and Sunday. Again, it's just about optimizing your brain patterns, your routines. And if you can do that, you'll find that your Monday to Friday is a lot easier. Okay, we've all done it. I'm sure, I don't know if you've done it yet or not, but the time will come where you're going to go out on a Friday and Saturday past your normal bedtime. Goodness me, honestly. And you'll have to go to bed later, and that's fine. Don't avoid going out because you want to stick to your sleep routine, but just make sure you get back into it as soon as possible, and you will feel the benefit of that, I do promise. And yeah, I think that's it for sleep. Okay, so aim for 8 hours, most important, and then everything else can follow after that. Okay, deadlines. So this is another thing. A lot of young people I've worked with have real kind of hang-ups about deadlines, and I get it. And it just needs a little shift in mindset. So this quote here, it's not a famous one. I literally typed in like deadline quote into Google, and this is what I got. Meeting deadlines is not good enough. Beating deadlines is my expectation. And I think if you can take a little bit of inspiration from this and just accept that you are no longer going to be the person who hands in your work on the deadline or after the deadline. That's not you anymore. You are going to be the person who gets things in before the deadline every time. That is your new goal, and that is who you're going to be as a person. And the reason for that, the benefits of that is huge. It's huge. So when we're in school and college, that's when we build our attitudes and mindsets that we carry with us. So if, as a teenager, you decide you are no longer going to be the person who leaves it to the last minute, then you'll become that person. If you follow through with that and make that your habit, that you always meet your deadlines, then you're set for life, because you won't want to give that up, because you know that will work, that feels good to you, and you'll carry that on. So change your mindset now to change your future. That's a big statement, isn't it? But if you can get that right now, then you're set for life after that. So don't leave it to the last minute. Use the tools and techniques we have been through to plan your time effectively. See it as a challenge to submit every piece of work at least a day early. And that last point I put in there, your teachers will see you in a new light. Believe me, when that student who is always late, always hands in late, gives you something early, it's a real moment of kind of, goodness me, this is it. Okay, I need to take this seriously. Because it's a real sign to your teachers that you're taking yourself seriously, you're taking education seriously, and you want to do better. So typically when work is handed in before the deadline, that gives the teacher time to give you feedback and mark it so you can improve. And that is what education is all about. So do try and hit deadlines early. Don't leave it to the last minute. Build that habit now, and that will give you success in the future for sure, without doubt. Okay, next one is equipment. And this is a simple thing, and it sounds silly, and it is silly, but it's so important. You might be the kind of person that brings all the right equipment every day, not a problem. But to me, from my experience, the students who struggle at school and college are unprepared. They're not ready for the day. They've not thought ahead and thought, okay, what do I need to do today? What do I need to bring with me today to make today a good day? So yeah, it may sound trivial, but the best students don't ask to borrow a pen every lesson. They've got what they need to be successful. So being prepared is about shifting the mindset to being organised and ready for the day. Get folders ready, get yourself a pencil case, a bottle of water, put them in a bag, take that bag with you, then you've got what you need, okay? You're prepared. Rather than having to scramble around to find what you need, you've got it there with you. So that's a simple change. And if you're not doing it, make sure you change that mindset now to being prepared. And if you're already doing it, brilliant. That's great. Keep up the good work. Okay, so that's just a little one, that one about equipment. Okay, and the last one in this video is study environment. I'm aware this video is dragging on now, so apologies for that. I might split this into 2 videos, we'll see. So yeah, study environment. And again, sometimes this is easier said than done, and some people just like to work in chaos, and that's okay. That is okay if it works. If you're getting results and you work in chaos like this, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. But if you're struggling, you're overwhelmed, and your working area looks like that, then we need to make a change. Okay, we need to aim for something like this, something that's clean, tidy, and organised. How calm does that image look? It just fills me with a sense of peace. I don't think I could get working in that kind of environment. So this is what we're aiming for. We want clean, tidy, organised. Okay, calm, clean, and organised. There we go. I wrote that down there. I've put the last 2 in brackets because I know they're not always possible, depending on where you work at home, or it might even be at home at a library or wherever, on the bus, on the train. Try and make that space as quiet as possible. Okay, some people I know don't like to work in quiet. I'm a bit like that. I need some kind of background music or noise, otherwise I really struggle to concentrate. I've put that in brackets. If you can go for quiet, then brilliant. And try and have no or limited distractions. Again, I know it's not always possible if you've got younger brothers and sisters running around screaming. It's not possible to stop them doing that necessarily, but try and limit how much they distract you. You know, close the door, put some headphones in, just ask them very nicely to leave you alone for however long you're going to study for, and just try and create that environment where you can be successful, because if it's cluttered, chaotic, noisy, it's not going to help you at all. So just, if you work in your bedroom, buy some stuff to organise all your folders, get them tidied neatly and tidily. If you work on in a dining room or a kitchen table or something, make sure that table is clear afterwards, okay? If you can find a space that's not in your bedroom as well, try. Because then again, psychologically, you've got a separation between where you relax and where you work. Whereas if they're together in the same place, that can be tricky as well. And again, I know it's not always possible, but if you can find a calm, clean, quiet space to work that's not your bedroom, try and use that if you can, because it just creates that mental separation between work and rest, which is really important. So there we go. I mentioned at the beginning about marginal gains, and so this guy Dave Brailsford was in charge of the Great British Cycling team at the 2012 Olympics, and they cleared up with medals. They got so many medals, and he attributes that success to what he calls marginal gains. So this is his quote. He says, "We are always striving for improvement, for those 1% gains in absolutely everything that we do." So it might be, we've talked about having a calm environment, we talked about meeting deadlines, we talked about carrying equipment. You might already be doing those things, but use this time as an opportunity to reflect on those habits that you're doing. How could you improve them by even 0.1%? If you can improve them by 1%, amazing. And that's what Dave Brailsford did, and he optimised his team's performance just in tiny little tweaks. I think it was things like literally the weight of the underwear they were wearing, or what they ate for the meal before needs to be lighter, so they're physically lighter and go faster around the track. It was those tiny little things which you wouldn't normally think is an issue, but when you combine lots of small changes, you get a big result at the end of it. And that's what I want you to think about here. So how could you shift your habits in a tiny way, fractional way, and have that big impact over time? Because, again, linking back to the beginning, we are what we repeatedly do. So if we are efficient, if we are productive, if we are purposeful, we will become that over time. It won't happen straight away, but we will become it over time. And if you do that, you'll be that one big step closer to reaching your goals. I promise you that, okay? So have a think about your habits, think about your study environment, think about your equipment, think about your deadlines, and think about your sleep. Okay, how could you optimize all of those to be the very best they can be? And if you want to talk about any of these things, email me, contact me through Discord. Let's chat. Let's talk things through. But good luck with this one, because this might seem like something trivial, something small, but it can have a huge impact. So good luck.